How's it going, guys? Thanks for coming. See some new faces. Well, either way, today I think this is a lot of y'all's first time coming at Ace Next Gen's event, so just a little bit of an introduction about who we are. I am RK. I guess you can say that I'm the president, but I just run around and do a bunch of stuff, take videos, so appreciate you guys for coming by. If you guys aren't familiar with what Ace Next Gen actually is, we are an organization focused on API entrepreneurs and just growing the community here, because obviously Houston is very spread out, and I'm sure the other business owners here, the other community builders here, it's tough times to try to find other people that look like you, right? So this is really just a space that we want to hold as often as possible and to highlight as many people like Lisa as possible. So thank you guys for coming by. Okay. Who's first time, or whose first time is it here at an event? Look at that, new faces.
Okay.
Not Tristan. Oh. Well, either way, if you guys are just curious about the other things that we do here at Ace Next Gen, you can find any one of us that are part of this org. We're really starting to kick off a little bit more events here locally, but we do a ton of stuff nationally, virtually, to really help grow your businesses or start your businesses. So raise your hands if you are part of Ace Next Gen. So we've got Tristan, Lockie, Jimmy, Ian, Jeff. Where's Ray? Anyway, oh, Ray's back there. All right, yeah. Okay, well, so we call this Entrepreneur Dinner Club. Essentially, we just kick back, get to know each other, and really have a central topic for every night. Today we have Lisa. I know a lot of you guys know Lisa, right? Yeah, she brought a lot of people. All right, so for the people that don't know Lisa, just I want to give like a little story. We met when she was with OCA. We did a joint event with Ace Next Gen, OCA, and it was really cool. One of the main things is after connecting, we obviously connected online. I was like, dang, this girl is in everything. She's got her hands in so many different things, like super involved. And it's always an inspiration to see people that are so involved with their community. So with that, can you just give everyone a little bit of an intro of you, what you do, how you got into this place?
Well, thank you, RK, for such a warm welcome. And thank you, Ian, for having us today at Vuji Cafe. This wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have such a great connection when we met, and like believing in the mission of not only Project Empower Her, but all the different communities that I do have a hand in. So a little bit of, can you all hear me? Yeah. Cool. A little bit about myself. So I grew up, born and raised in the Chicago area. I was born in a Chicago? Hey, what's up? I was born in a predominantly white neighborhood of Chicago, and I remember finding myself feeling like I was the only Asian girl in my class, the only Asian person kind of in my community, always feeling alone. And that was a big part of a big formative...
We can hear. Yeah, we can hear.
Hello?
Yeah, I think she got a loud voice.
Oh, yeah, I can project.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit easier this way. Yeah, I just found myself feeling like I was on my own little island. I didn't have a community to connect with. I didn't have role models to look up to, and most of all, I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I wasn't belonging with my Chinese parents who felt like I was too American, and I wasn't belonging in white school, apparently, at my school, where I didn't have any cultural connections with the folks there. And so this is a big formative part of my growing up, because I wanted to create spaces of belonging. I wanted to create spaces of community. In 2021, after finishing my graduate degree at University of Chicago for social work, I moved down here to Houston. I packed up everything I owned and sold everything I had to fit in my little Toyota Camry, drove down to Houston, and was just so amazed at how vibrant and amazing the Asian community here is in Houston. And a part of me was like jealous on behalf of my younger version of myself. And I said, wow, if I just had a role model to look up to, if I just had a community that I felt like I belonged to in Chicago, I feel like my life would have looked very, very different. And so after moving to Houston, I made it my priority to connect with Asians here in Houston. So I started off in a very unconventional way by doing the Miss Chinatown Houston pageant. I thought the best way for me to get connected to my community was to just make my breakthrough on the stage. And so I met a lot of the organizers through Miss Chinatown Houston, and that allowed me to meet amazing people at OCA Greater Houston, and that's how I landed my first job working with high school students in the Houston area, focusing on their development, their leadership, as well as using their voice to empower themselves to advocate for what they believe in. So using my social work degree, but also my passion for mentorship, I've been able to create different spaces here in Houston, little pockets, hopefully, to give youth the opportunities that I never had growing up. And so this leads into Project Empower Her, which, raise your hand if you're in my program. I'm working with high school students. Yes, thank you. I'm working with high school students. I'm working with high school students in the Houston area, specifically Asian women high school students, to be their big sister. I was affected by mental health affecting my family growing up, and I grew up without a big sister. And ultimately, I want to be able to give these young high school students a big sister experience. Hopefully they can learn from the mistakes that I've made along the way through this journey. And they've really trusted me to mentor them through these 6 weeks. So we're learning how to come up with a community impact project, come up with an idea that gives back to our community. And at the end of the month, April 26th, we will have a pitch competition where they can compete for prize money to support their community impact projects. So give it up to the Project Empower Her girls one more time. I'm just really, really proud of the work that they've already done investing into themselves, and I love seeing the growth that I've already seen in them. So keep an eye out for them. And ultimately, the work that I've done through Project Empower Her, also the Asian Mental Health Collective, is just trying to create pockets of belonging where I never felt that growing up. So that's a little bit about me. Sorry that was a little long-winded, but I'm really grateful that I get to speak with you all today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So a ton of stuff. I wanted to go into AMHC and the work that you
Absolutely.
did starting with AMHC, so Asian Mental Health Collective. Can you kind of build on that? I know we touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the origin story of like me growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, I really was impacted by the fact that I couldn't be open about what I was going through with my mental health. I was struggling with anxiety and depression. I didn't feel like I fit in at school. I didn't have anyone to talk to, nor did I really have any mentors to share my struggles with. And I carried this burden with me all the way through undergrad and grad school, trying to find the solution by studying psychology, sociology, thinking that if I just studied it, I would have the answers. And turns out at the end of 2 degrees, I did not have the answer. I was really frustrated at all of the different issues that I had been dealing with, and I came across an opportunity to volunteer for the Asian mental health community. Christopher Vo, who is my co-founder of Asian Mental Health Collective, reached out to me and said, Lisa, would you be willing to give me your help to help moderate this Facebook group? And I was sitting there like, a Facebook group? Like, a Facebook group. And at this time, I think it was 2019, Subtle Asian Mental Health, which is the name of the Facebook group, had over 31,000 members worldwide talking about their mental health stories, being brave and courageous about their experiences, and just being really candid. And it was one of the, I think it might have been the first space that I've had ever seen up until this point where we could talk about our mental health experiences among other Asians who understood our struggles with our parents, understood our struggles fitting in predominantly white communities. And I said, wow, like I really want to be a part of this. And so this community has now grown to over 61,000 members worldwide, and we are just so proud of the bravery and the courage that our community has come together to speak about their issues. Now, something else that we noticed is that people would submit their stories and be like, okay, so what's the next step? Where are the resources? And no matter how we searched for these resources, we couldn't find any. We couldn't find a therapist directory. We couldn't find therapy funds. We couldn't find anything to point our people to. And so we came together as a group of co-founders and said, it's time for us to take action. It's time for us to make these resources. And in 2021, we launched the very first Asian American therapist directory in the United States through Asian Mental Health Collective. It's crazy that in 2021 that we were the first to do it, but it was just a testament to how needed this resource was in our community. After that, we decided to push further, and we said, it's time for us to fund therapy for our community. And so we, through our fundraising tactics and outreach to corporate donors, we were able to then distribute $88,000 for the first time to our community to fund 8 free sessions of therapy with an Asian therapist. And that was something that we've always dreamed of, is providing culturally responsive care for our community. We need Asian therapists to talk to Asian people about the problems that they experience. Otherwise, people don't feel connected to their therapeutic journey. And now, in 2025, we distribute over $350,000 of free therapy to our community every single year. So this is a little bit of our journey through Asian Mental Health Collective, and I love being able to see a problem and think, we can do better. There is an option for us, or there is a way for us to create change. And that's why we kept dreaming of this therapist directory. We kept dreaming of these free sessions in therapy as well.
That's awesome. I wanted to what I wanted to ask is, it sounds like the business journey and scaling to that level, it wasn't really the first thing in mind. It's more about the community. I mean, did you guys happen to have this where you guys are at in mind now, or what was the main goal in the beginning?
Absolutely. So we were just a ragtag group of mental health professionals and professional students who just wanted to make a difference. We wanted to make that community. We had no idea that Asian Mental Health Collective would grow to the size whatsoever. In 2020, I think we had like negative $700 in our bank account because we had just paid the money to get nonprofit status. So we were like in the red. And due to the Atlanta spa shootings that happened, for those of you who don't know, Asian women were targeted at a spa, and the spa was targeted and shot up. And so shortly after that horrific incident, the entire world and a lot of corporate donors turned to Asian Mental Health Collective and said, well, you guys are the only ones doing this work. You guys are now the voice of Asian mental health for everyone. And so we were like, with negative $700 in our account, we were like, oh, okay, like, I mean, I guess we're doing it now, right? So we had this money come in, and we had all these big dreams, and we wanted to make it happen. And so as we saw the money pouring in, we immediately started galvanizing and coming together with like, if we had the money, what would we do for our community? And so, no, we did not think of scaling whatsoever. It kind of happened by the grace of whoever's up there. And we were able to use, unfortunately, the tragedy of our community to continue to create more opportunities for us to heal. And so it was just like the perfect storm to create for Asian Mental Health Collective to thrive. I know, it was a pretty wild ride.
You get thrown into it sometimes.
We did get thrown into the fire.
I can imagine, not only in AMHC, but with everything that you're in, the bigger you get, the more struggles or obstacles or maybe even bad players within your community come in there. How do you guys deal with something like that as you start to grow that community, to stay true to what y'all wanted in the beginning?
This reminds me of the story of when I first joined Subtle Asian Mental Health. So we were at 31,000 members-ish in this community. And I kept asking some of my co-founders and moderators, like, what are the guidelines of this group? What are the, what are the rules? Or like, when do you ban somebody? When do you mute them? And the answer was kind of like, we just kind of take each case as is. And I thought to myself, that's not going to work long term because this community is going to keep growing and growing. And so one of the things that has helped us as we've continued to grow as a community is make sure there's structure to support not only the volunteers who help us in the Facebook group, but also the volunteers in the organization. So are we clear about roles and responsibilities of the moderators? Do we have a clear game plan of what to do if someone says something really offensive to somebody else in the group? At what point do we remove someone from the group? At what point do we take away their right to be in this group, in this space that is supposed to be meant for healing? And ultimately, because it is a mental health space, we took our time very intentionally through many different drafts to make sure that there was a clear manual for our moderators and volunteers to follow. And so as we continue to grow Asian Mental Health Collective, and as we get more and more volunteers or staff members, I believe that like structure is a really great way to continue supporting people within your organization to grow sustainably.
Okay. And taking what you're doing with AMHC and honestly, just I wanted to kind of get into your project now.
Sure.
Empower Her. What are you doing differently? Obviously, it's a different space, right? Where it's not all online. It's a lot more in person. You're a lot more in front of them. Is there anything that you're taking from those experiences, from OCA, from anything that you've done into this new project that you're doing now?
Absolutely. So Project Empower Her was born from my desire to create a program that was not only for mentorship, but also for development of using their voices as a force for good. I felt like working at OCA Greater Houston, I was really able to learn a lot of skills around organizing, around putting events together, as well as being able to build trust with youth. But I felt like I wasn't growing anymore at that organization, and I wanted to create an opportunity where I could keep that growth and keep mentoring youth for generations to come. And so Project Empower Her was really about wanting to have more control over how the program was designed, as well as being clear about how I want to execute it. So right now, the Project Empower Her girls are coming to the end of their 6-week program. Each week, we meet on a Saturday for 3 hours to talk about how to have a great pitch and woo a potential funder. We talk about how to do project management skills. We also talk about how to make sure that they're being intentional about their mission and vision so that it follows their heart. We know when people are being inauthentic, and I want to make sure that their projects reflect something that really comes from the heart. So I think things that I'm taking from previous positions is, the skills that I've learned along the way were so invaluable. And now it's time for me to kind of spread my wings a little bit more and get creative about how I want to see the future of Asian women development and leadership.
You touched on authenticity.
Yes.
And everyone here, well, not everyone here, but a lot of people here are business owners, other community builders. I think if they were to take their first step in building a community, how do they stay authentic to those people that they're trying to stay in touch with, while also, trying to get their message across for their businesses? Do you have any advice for something like that?
Absolutely, and I want to make sure I'm shouting out Christopher Vo, my co-founder of Asian Mental Health Collective, because this man has taught me so much about staying true to your mission and vision and never ever straying from that path. We've had a lot of hard conversations in the Asian Mental Health Collective about, the world is telling us to do this, or people want us to do this, so we should flex and move. No, we are staying on our path. We are really true to that, and we must believe in what we are doing here. And so if you are thinking about building a community potentially, or building a space for your business or entrepreneur endeavor, what's really important is not only are you clear about who you are, how you show up in this opportunity or in this business, and how do you move? What is your mission for this business? Even if it's a restaurant, do you have a target audience? Do you have a specific type of person that you're catering to in this restaurant? It should be very clear. And if someone were to ask you, you should be able to right away tell them. So I think staying true to the mission and vision and not letting the world rock you, because the world's going to try to rock you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I guess definitely wanted to open it up a bit, and I wanted to ask if there hasn't been anything else that we talked about. Is there one last piece of advice before we do open it up that you would give to anyone trying to build a community up there and other business owners as well?
Yeah, I would say that everyone wants to belong somewhere. You want to belong somewhere, your friends want to belong somewhere, your parents wanted to belong somewhere, and ultimately, in order to create a community that feels that, you have to understand what you want in belonging. And so a lot of, like, for example, like Subtle Asian Mental Health, that was born out of our own selfish desire to belong in a community. And ultimately that turned into a lot of people resonating with that. I also feel the same way. I wanted that community too, and I love what you are doing. And so if you really want to create a strong community, you need to understand what belonging means to you first. And we talk about this a lot at Project Empower Her, how you show up and like what your values are, that's going to impact how you execute your projects. Thank you all.
Before I open it up, I wanted to ask, everyone's here for you and amazing advice.
Yes, thank you.
I wanted to ask, do you have any asks or anything that we can support you with as a community, whether it's ACE Next Gen or any of the other members in here?
Absolutely. I might have said this earlier, but April 26th on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Tracy G Community Center, my Project Empower Her girls will be doing their pitch competition. So after 6 weeks of planning their community impact projects, they're going to be in front of the whole community telling you about what their project is, how they're going to execute it, and what their plan is. And it's going to be very similar to like a large Shark Tank episode. And I would love it, love it, love it if you all came out to come and support these young Asian women as they are being courageous and brave to tell you about what they're doing. The first prize winner will win $1,000 towards their community impact project. And I'm just so grateful that we have a community like ACE Next Gen to continue to uplift what we are doing at this project. I would love it if I could see all of your faces April 26th. Anything else? I'm just like really grateful for all of you to come out. So support shows up in many ways, whether it's liking a post on Instagram, showing up to the event today, coming to the competition. Please, please, please feel free to connect with me and reach out should you ever want to like work together.
We got everyone's info. I will make sure that we email all of Lisa's information. April 26th. I'll remember that. So anyways, I wanted to open it up to the floor. You guys happen to have any questions for Lisa here? No questions. Ray got it.
Lisa, so you're really focused on like the nonprofit space, right?
Right.
How would you say, how does that differ from maybe an entrepreneur starting their own business versus getting really involved in a nonprofit? Is it very similar in that sense, do you think?
Yeah, great question. So actually, the more I've gotten into the nonprofit space, the more I realize it's pretty similar to the entrepreneurial business space. You just have more rules as a nonprofit on like what you can spend your money on, where you can get your money from, etc. So if you're thinking about, either nonprofit or business, it just depends on what your impact goals are. A lot of people who want to do impact work end up in the nonprofit space because you are eligible for grants and other fundraising opportunities that C3 status will give you. So that's that tax exempt status from IRS. But I don't think there's that many differences. The main thing is that people in the business space are mostly focused on creating impact, but also generating that profit. Whereas nonprofits, we are not able to do that. And so we focus our projects on executing mission and vision. But if you are a business owner in this room, I highly urge you to continue thinking about your mission and vision because that creates that sense of belonging and community that keeps people coming back to your business.
Hi, my name is Maria. I actually have a nonprofit that I'm going to continue for one of my friends that passed away. It's for Filipino pilots. And so what's the first step? Because we just got it started before he passed. So what's the first step in starting it up? Like, what do I need to do?
So you just received your nonprofit status. Is that what I heard right?
We have done nothing. So,
Okay.
like, what's the first step in, making a nonprofit?
I think the biggest mistake that a lot of new nonprofits do is immediately start trying to do work. Like I said with the Project Empower Her Girls, there's a lot of internal work being done, reflection on, okay, what type of impact do I see Project Empower Her making in the community? Is this needed? As well as what type of impact, like I said, what type of impact I want to create for the people that I'm serving. So if you're serving Filipino pilots, what do Filipino pilots need? Have you done any research to see like what their specific needs look like yet? And I think doing a little bit of a survey or like gauging interest is really going to help guide you as you are trying to lead this new organization to the next step. A big mistake a lot of new nonprofits make is they try to scale really quickly before knowing where they're going. So you got to know where you go, and that does require a lot of, I would say, tough questions you have to ask yourself.
Are there any like paperwork or something like that?
If you haven't done the 501c3 paperwork through the IRS, that's what's going to be able to give you eligibility for grants from the government. So I highly recommend, you could even just look it up, 501c3 IRS application. And I believe the turnaround is between 4 to 6 weeks. So just plan for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so being a part of Project Empower Her itself, I feel like we in your cohort have learned so much, but I wanted to ask you, what have you learned? What impact has it made on you? And like, what have you learned from us? And would there be anything you would change about it?
Okay, so there's a 3-part question.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And that was Caitlin, by the way, from Project Empower Her. Thank you so much for this question. So I think the first thing I would say that I've learned from you all is that you all are so incredibly brilliant and bright and have such incredible futures ahead of you. And so when I think about that, that drives me even further to create the best opportunity for you all. If I could do Project Empower Her over again, I think I would probably add an extra hour to our Saturday sessions so that you have more time to practice your pitches with me. I think that has been the #1 skill I want to develop in you all is the public speaking component. And I think I should have started probably a little sooner or given you more time for that. Luckily, we have office hours every single Wednesday, so that helps. But if I were to like recreate the 6-week program, I would add an extra hour just so that we can focus on the verbal components. And then, I don't know if I answered your 3rd question, so it's like, tell me one more time.
What have you learned?
What have I learned?
Empower Her from
Yes.
us? And what would you change it? But what impact did it make on you?
What impact did it make on me? Every single night I think about, this is what keeps me up at night. Every single night I think about, did I do you justice? Like, did I lead the session correctly? Did I organize? Did I give you guys the support you needed in that moment? Because when I was a high school student and someone's like, do you have any questions? I'd be kind of like, I don't even know what to ask, right? And so I'm trying to create as many opportunities for you all to feel like you can trust me with your questions, no matter what they are. I wanted to make sure that you guys don't feel like you're judged by me. I never, ever want you to feel judged in this space. I'm always trying to create a relationship of trust with you all so that you can feel free to tell me. Mia, I think you were like, oh, I don't want you to yell at me. I'm like, never, ever. Never, ever would I yell at you. However, I do want to make sure that like you are staying on track because I care about your progress for the project. Does that make sense? And that is something that has always impacted me about this work. And I feel like it's even more, even more amplified by doing this project with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are some of your plans for Project Empower Her, like after this competition that you guys are going to have?
Great question. So after the competition, I'm going to be applying to many grants. I'm actually in the midst of potentially the 2nd interview for the Bridge Accelerator program, which would mean $50,000 for our program. And that would mean I can continue doing this cohort, this competition for years to come. My goal is to do a couple more iterations of my high school program, 6 weeks. I might be playing around with the timeline, whether I want to do it over the summer so you guys have more time with me, or over winter break so it's more of like a short sprint. I'm going to be playing around with different things given the feedback that you guys give me. I have a survey prepared. And then I will be thinking about opening up a college cohort, 18 to 24. So my 18 to 24 cohort, I'm planning to make that 3 months long, so a summer-long internship, essentially, leadership development program. And if all goes well, eventually I will create a 25 to 35 cohort for that middle of the career Asian woman who needs that mentorship and development. So that's kind of my long vision for Project Empower Her and how it's going to grow.
We had one over there.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to ask when you were choosing to focus Project Empower Her on high school girls, was that simply because you thought you could one real experiences, or was this something like you noticed that there just significantly less support for girls or something like that?
It's kind of a mix of both. So the question was like, did I create Project Empower Her out of like the gap that I see in high school students and the services that they can receive, or was it more focused on like if I have access to high school students? So when I worked at OCA Greater Houston, I spent a lot of time developing relationships with high school students, especially AAPI high school students in the Houston area. And not only did I feel like this was a great first cohort to pilot because I have that established trust. So there's kind of like the opportunity window of like working with students that I have already worked with. And then the second portion is because I saw a gap. There are a lot of women empowerment organizations here in Houston and a lot of Asian leadership development like ACE Next Gen, like a lot of Asian Chamber of Commerce. These organizations are specifically focused on Asian development, but I didn't see any doing both at the same time. And because I saw that gap and I knew that I had the expertise and resources and drive to do this, that's why I decided to do Project Empower Her. Great question. Thank you. Yes?
For the, your organization, your Empower for the school students, do people have to apply to that, or how did you find these people? Or did they have to apply?
There is an application this year because it's my pilot year. I reached out to A-Leaf Votes, which is an organization that I work with a lot through OCA Greater Houston. And a lot of the students who work in A-Leaf Votes applied to Project Empower Her. There were some students that I handpicked and I was like, you should probably apply, no pressure. And then they applied and I was able to look over their applications and then bring them in.
How many did you cap it at for this pilot program?
I wanted no more than 10, and I had originally 9 students in my program. She had another, commitment this year, so she'll be joining my next cohort. So now I have 8 girls in my program.
Specifically in the Southwest A-Leaf?
A-Leaf and Bel Air, specifically A-Leaf and Bel Air neighborhoods. Yes, so I have A-Leaf ISD and then Bel Air High School.
Any other?
Would you consider opening up to volunteer, like, you know, other girls that would want to see kind of firsthand, you know, what you guys did?
Absolutely. I would love volunteers. I think right now, because I'm a one-man team, I'm a little bit at capacity with just planning this pitch competition. I think for future iterations of Project Empower Her, I definitely need volunteers for marketing as well as for helping me do mentorship and project leading or public speaking. Every single Project Empower Her session, we have a guest speaker come. And so people who want to volunteer and be a guest speaker, those are amazing opportunities to get involved with Project Empower Her. And donations are appreciated, of course. However, for people who want to volunteer their time, I definitely need some manpower around the marketing, taking videos, so I don't have to be a marketing specialist while also teaching at the same time.
So with the political climate right now and everything that's happening around us, do you feel like speaking up for the Asian American community, does it intimidate you or anything when you're not what you're talking about?
I think with the political climate, that was something I was like, oh man, should I launch Project Empower Her? And I said to myself, no matter what the political climate is, Asian women are going to need support, and that means I'm going to do it. That means I'm going to launch it, even if it's going to be tough this year, even if it's going to be tough next 20 years. It's always going to be hard running a nonprofit organization, and it's always going to be hard doing this work. So why should I wait right now? And so If not now, then when? And I really kind of took that advice to heart and just went ahead and launched. I just went ahead and got started. And if you're out there thinking like, oh, should I start this project? Just do it, because like if not today, if not tomorrow, then it's just gonna stick around in your head and you might regret not launching it sooner. So I'm so glad that I launched it, even if it's tough right now.
Right. I think that was, any last questions?
I don't think so.
I think that was a really great last question.
Thank you all. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming. We'll stick around here for a little bit, and I think if there's anything, I should be making like announcements for ACE.
Would it be possible for me to have my Project Empower Her girls introduce themselves?
Absolutely, yeah.
I would love for them to tell them about you, yourselves and your project. They're like, no, you need to practice. sorry. Throw them into the fire. Okay, I'm gonna have you all stand up here, and then we're just gonna go one at a time. Is that all right? Yes. Okay. Let me also try to not die while I step down. Okay, very good.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Would you guys be able to stand? Yes, right there. Does anyone have preferences to go first? Okay, awesome. All right, Knock, take it away and make sure that you are projecting.
Is everyone ready? All right.
Oh yeah, we're ready.
Ready?
Make sure you project.
Firstly, how's everyone doing today?
Woo!
That's amazing. So to start off introductions, my name is Nat Ho. I am currently a freshman at Ailey Kerr High School, and through Lisa's program, I am developing my own health equity workshop series. So this is a hands-on initiative that directly addresses healthcare disparities in marginalized communities full of immigrants, non-native English speakers, and low-income families. And if any of you have been in Ailey, like, thank you so much for introducing that. But you would absolutely know that Ailey is absolutely one of those areas full of people like me. So, like Lisa said, pitch competition is coming April 26th. I would absolutely love to see you guys pull up and come show your support in any way possible. Thank you so much. I am a junior, high school junior at Kerr.
A little louder.
And I'm currently a co-founder and vice president of Femton STEM High School Club, mission to empower young women through STEM education. So because Kerr High School is a very small fine arts school, STEM is a primarily male-dominated field. We were just inspired to create a supportive reliance and community for young girls interested in STEM. Well, unfortunately, my co-founder, Angelina Nguyen, isn't here today, but she's an amazing person, and hopefully you guys will get to see her at the pitch competition. But we are starting an initiative called Care for Cancer, in which we empower students to really just go out and research cancer types, and we present these workshops as we consult with doctors to also help mentor these students. Just reach out to the community, provide them resources, especially in areas such as Ailey has not mentioned. These people don't have the resources. These people don't have what they need to really just get out there. So that's why we want to empower students who are passionate like us to really just help the community. Hi, my name is Keely Andal. I am a sophomore at Ailey Center High School, and my project is called Together We Thrive. It's a cultural resource fair, and the purpose of my fair is because I was born in the Philippines and raised in Houston. So in a community of language barriers and low income, I wanted to use this event to not only aid in immigrants and refugees, but also be able to have the culture around us and be appreciative of what's around, and have just appreciate culture and have my identity in the world.
Good job. As you can tell, these young ladies are incredibly brilliant, courageous for coming up in front of a crowd of people like this to tell you about their projects. Please, please, please come to our pitch competition April 26th. We'll be at the Tracy G Community Center that's in Precinct 4. And then you can reach out to me if you need tickets. I'm working on the Eventbrite right now. And
What time is it?
2 to 4 p.m. 2 to 3 will be the pitch competition. 3 to 4 p.m. will be the networking hour. So there will be light refreshments, and you guys can chat with the contestants and learn more about their projects, how it's going. Some of them are already launching. And so I just want to create as many opportunities for these girls to meet the community members. Thank you all.
Woo!
You guys did great. Yeah! You guys did so good. No, it's okay. It's okay to stutter. You just got to get back up. Nice job. No, you did so good. No, that was great. That was so much better than Saturday.
Yes,
so much better than Saturday. Yes, we did it.
I'm like halfway there,
step back.
almost done with my presentation, so I'll update you.
Hey, listen, if you just have the title of the slide, it's going to be okay, but that just means you have to do more work later.
Yes.
Yes, get a lot in, and yes, you guys did so fabulous.